All right, welcome. So in this video, we're going to be doing modeling for the momentary push button switch in hard surface modeling. And so hard surface modeling, which I've talked about in class, is not the end all be all of modeling, but it does get a whole lot of details. So if you have a hero object or something, you can model it up into tiny little details. This is going to be a three-part video, so we're going to have the first one is going to be modeling, the second one is going to be UVing, and the third one is going to be texturing it in Substance Painter. And the part of this modeling video, it's going to consist of 9 parts. So we're going to have the setup of the image plane, we're going to be blocking it out, we're going to be making some prongs. We're going to make the metal top with some cutouts. We're going to connect them, make some threads, make a washer, make a nut, and make the push button. So hopefully that's the way it's going to go. It doesn't always go like that, as all of you modelers should know. Things don't always go exactly as you prepare. And no matter how much, I do prepare for these videos a bit, and sometimes I just wing it. So what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to experiment. It's not all going to work out perfectly. So let's look at what a push button switch looks like. This is, you push it on, and then it connects these two pieces here, and these two guys here. And then you lift up, and then it disconnects them. So it's going to have this piece over here. We're going to have this nut over here. We could do this. We'll see if it works out. But it'd be fun to do that. And then also there is a side view of this, which is going to be helpful. And I'm going to bring that down if I can find it. And it's right here. So this helps in a little bit of proportion. Okay. So let's get right on it. So first off, we're going to go into our right view. And we're going to go into view. And we're going to import an image. And we are going to go to our push button switch, refs, push button switch schematic. So here is our schematic. We're going to go over into that little thing. We're going to put this into its own layer, and I'm going to name the layer schematic. Save. And then we're going to click on this little guy, and we're going to make it into read only. This way we're not going to click on it by accident, or accident, whichever you want to pronounce it. So let's start mocking this thing up. Basically it's going to be a bunch of cylinders. I'm going to put this into wireframe unshaded and X-ray for now. All right. Right view. So creating these cylinders, scaling it down. I want to actually bring our schematic so that it's a little bit more right in the center of things, like this. There. And then make it read only again. This way, if it's in the center like that, I can use hold down X, and I can get it to be nicely snapped into the middle. Okay, and so let's see what the resolution for this guy is, because I want to be able to duplicate it around if I need to. So it looks like this could go. Oh, see, that's a good example. You gotta make your object before you do anything wacky with it. I'm gonna make another cylinder. I'm gonna change this into 24. This way we should be able to cut it into quarters if we need to. All right, there we go. Okay, go back onto the right view, select this guy, and we're gonna scale it down. And it all depends on how you want to cut up everything. You know, you can make it smaller. Probably would work well, but beware that if you make it smaller, there can be, it can have a bit of a shrinking effect on the object, and things won't always match up. So now I'm making this guy, these guys, those are the threads, and duplicate this guy down here. And then I'm going to duplicate this guy up here. Now, one of the things I really like about this model is the nut. It's a neat little thing that I was doing with it. And then we can also make a, the nut's going to have to be 6, so I'm going to have to make a new one with that. Let's turn this into, we could turn this into our washer. However, the washer is also an interesting one if we're going to cut that. So we'll think about that later. And then we're going to make the nut. So I'm going to make a polygon primitive here. And I'm going to change this to 6. And like I was saying too, you have to be able to improvise and just try things out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There was an idea that was claimed to have been Edison's. You never really know about all those stories. That said, and I don't think it was actually he who invented the light bulb. I think it was a Canadian that said, "I didn't fail 9,999 times before I got to 10,000 times. I found 9,999 ways that didn't work." So hopefully you're not going to model this 9,999 times, because then you'd definitely be doing something a little bit wrong. All right, so it's just a positive mindset. Then we're going to create another cylinder over here, and we're going to bring this down here. Let's do X-ray, and this is the hole over here. So we're still in the first step of mocking it out. This one, I think I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll make it 8. Let's see how that works. So if we do 8, 1, 2, nope, let's do 12. Okay. I'm going to make this a lot smaller. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember. There's a real clever way of doing that one. But we're not going to worry about that just yet. So we have the start of it. And the this guy, I know exactly what I'm going to do with that. So we have the start of it. Let's save it. Let's go here, and we're going to do push button switch new. Now I'm going to do 1. Remember, you got to save these frequently because you don't want to lose them. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, we're blocking out, we're going to make the prongs. So the prongs are kind of fun. We're going to do on the right side, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go into the face mode. I'm going to delete all the middle faces like that. And that seems a little bit strange. Why are you doing that? I don't know. I'm going to undo that. No, I'm just kidding. Then I go over here and I go into the edge mode, and I select the edges, and probably see where I'm going with this. Go back into the right view, and then I'm going to go into scale mode, and I'm going to extrude the outside just like that. let's see what this looks like in our non-X-ray view. So our non-X-ray view is showing us that the faces are inverted. So we want to go to mesh display. I hate when the monitor does that. Mesh display, and then we go to reverse. Okay, right view. Now, let's see here. We need to go. Okay. Invert mode. Select this guy. Snap it down to that one. Over here. Snap it down to that one. And select all these guys here. Bring them up. Scale like so. And then after that, let's see what the other side looks like. Good, just one. Edge mode. Right side. Extrude this along over here. Extrude this along over here. Like this. Extrude it. I'm holding down shift. And you can also see I have this little guy over here, so that should help. Alright. So now we have that little guy preliminarily mocked up. So now with hard surface modeling, we do these things called holding edges in order to get a shape to look to hold its shape. And the closer you make the holding edges, the harder the edge. So it's kind of like a crease, and we're using subdiv surfaces. So I'm presuming a little bit of an understanding of how subdiv works. If I were, and subdivs goes, you press 3 and get subdivs. 1 goes back in regular poly mode. So you can see how all of this is looking a little bit funny. Look, what is the Einstein-Rosen bridge right there? Oh, time warp. However, if I had turned this into a 3D object and it wasn't just cut like this, it would look really strange. So what we're going to do with this guy is we're going to go into multi-cut. And we're going to click right about over here. No, we're not. Because notice how if I go into multi-cut and everything is not exactly set up right. Now this is, some of them are closer to the actual object. This is because we're taking this and we're scaling it down. So instead, I'm going to bevel this. And it would be really neat if holding edges could all be beveled. But it doesn't always work like that. Hold down Shift. Hold down right mouse button, and that we get the bevel. And turn this into 2 segments. Turn off chamfering. Hold down Control and grab this and pull it in a little bit. All right. Now, edge mode. Select the double click on the outside. Shift, extrude that guy out, and snap it over there. Now we'll do some beveling on the outside here. Oh, I didn't like that. Let's go here and merge our verts. So I've been using a tolerance of 0.0005 because I found that it was still it was getting rid of some of my detail. And I was not particularly fond of that. Okay. So you have to go around, select all these guys. Alright. I'll hold down the right mouse button with Shift. I'm going to bevel that. Segments 2, chamfer off, Control and hold the fraction down like so. This will get us some nice holding edges on the outside, and we're going to have to do some fixing up here. So if we go over here, you can see I pressed 3. I'm going to go into object mode, and I'll show you what it looks like without the wireframe unshaded. So far, we're getting some nice edges. go back into polygon mode. All right, so now we need to give some holding edges over here. So let's go in here. I like to click and hold on an edge and then move it to the corner so that I don't do something wrong. And then also if you hold, so don't click on, not on a vert. So hold down Control and Shift and you'll be able to get a right angle out of this. And there's a holding edge for that corner. Click Shift and Control. There's a holding edge for that. We want to keep it as quads as much as possible. And if it doesn't have a quad, it's no big whoop, but the only thing is you just have to make sure it looks right. And I'm using that snap there, and we have retain component spacing turned off. Looking good. And then over here, I want to have some holding edges on this guy. Segments 2, chamfering off. Alright, so we're going to have to do some little bit of finagling here. I think I may be cutting this guy right down the middle. Multi-cut. Oops. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to just delete this whole side here. And I pressed Alt-H so that I can see that. All right, so this guy is not going to work right over there. So I want to fix that guy up. We also need to fix this guy up here. So we go to Edge, double click that edge, but I don't want that to be there. And then I'm going to bevel that edge, segments 2, chamfer off. All right. Okay, now we've done a bunch. Now we're going to fix a few things up. So everything's going to look pretty cool, but this is the part up here that we need to fix up. I'm going to go add an edge loop there and then cut along here, connect this guy. Make this guy connect to this over here. This is definitely very whack right there. I'm going to snap that vert over there and do the same thing over here. Okay. And once I do those, that kind of snapping, I want to delete the history, merge the verts 0.0005, and go into our edge mode, and we're going to delete any extra edges that's causing triangles. Those are nice quads over there. Good there. Good there. Quads all over the frickin' place. Let's see how it looks. Huzzah. Okay. We have that thing going. Now let's take this guy and we're going to delete our history. We're going to freeze our transforms. And freeze our transforms is in modify. I'm going to move the center point here to be right over here. I'm going to duplicate, and then I'm going to mirror it along the z-axis. Select both of these guys, combine it, merge our verts, and going to move this over here, and I'll clone it, remove these faces, like so. Then I'm going to flip it on the x-axis. Then I'm going to snap this guy over here. See where I'm going with this? And snap that together. Select that part. Go to combine. Snap, merge our verts. Delete our history. And let's look at that. Look at how pretty that is. Oh, wait. What's up with this? Aha. We have a spot that is not connected. Double click on that. I'm going to double click on this one. And then I'm going to snap it right to that. Merge our verts. And then go into subdivs. And there we go. Beautiful. Okay. And I'm clicking all. This shows, brings everything all up together. I think also I would make this a little bit thinner. As you can see, it's a little thinner over there. So there's our first section done. We'll deal with adding that in a bit. So that's our prongs. Next thing is we're going to make the metal top, and we're going to add some little cutouts. So let's see if I can find that reference with these cutouts. These are the little cutouts that I'm talking about. These are going to be two separate objects, so don't worry about putting these together. That can cause a lot of, it's possible, I did it, but it takes a long time. So I don't want you to have to go through all of that just yet. And then, and so that's going to be our next part, is that little part. All right, so this is the part we're going to work on right here. And we're going to start working on that little divot spot. So let's go into our right view. That's the camera. Let's hide that guy. And here's our spot here. We're going to do a multi-cut, and we're going to add an edge loop right around there. Now let's look at this, these faces here. And select that edge loop. I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit. And then select both of these guys and just look at them there. So we want to make our cut. We want to make this thing happen right in here. So to do this, we're going to need another cylinder. I'm going to make this hard edge there. And what kind of a cylinder are we going to use? I think let's try something a little bit low in the tessellation and do 6. And rotate it on its side. And how does that look? I may add more. Uh-oh, we're not going to do well with that. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's cross our fingers that this will actually work. It did! Huzzah! I didn't do it strangely. So this time what I did was I did subdivision axes of 8. I'm going to make this smaller so that we can bring this guy up here. A little smaller there. Okay. And we have these two guys right here. Going to save it just in case something gets wacky. Now another thing too that we can do is you can do what a graphic artist calls keeping it live. And so I'm going to clone this, put it off into the distance, and hide it so that we can hold on to it in case we need to come back to it. And what we can do here is I'm going to select this guy, make it big, go over here, and select both of these guys, and then I'll try a Boolean. Difference A minus B. Wrong one. A minus B. Boolean A minus B. All right. So a very good start. Now watch what happens when we go into subdivs. Whoa, that's horrible. So we don't like that one. Let's click on the bottom part. Let's look at this guy, and that looks weird. It's gonna be strange, but we're gonna fix this up. So let's go into vert mode. We're going to start fixing this up so it works with subdivs. We need to get rid of these small little faces. How are we gonna fix that up? Small little faces. Then I'm going to select half of the whole thing, like so. Then I'm gonna cut from here over here. This isn't even the way I did it before, but it's good to experiment. I'm gonna go into a multi-cut. Control and Shift. So what am I doing? You may be asking that. I'm asking that of myself too. No, I'm just kidding. Just moving these guys around. It's going to be snapped. Actually, no, I like those guys over there. So here's what we're going to do. I think the best thing to do, and this goes to show you how improvising works. Remember that you do want to plan a little bit before, and a lot of times planning only comes from understanding how something like this works. I go into object mode and merge our verts. Then I'll go into the edge mode. I just want to select these guys and Control E to extrude, and hold down Control and click on offset. And then we'll do Control E again, and then we'll move it in. Control E again, W, and move it in. So right there, we made our holding edges the whole time that we were extruding all that stuff. And then I'll scale this guy so it goes flat. All right. So that's a good start. Now I'll go in select this edge, double clicking on it, bevel it, segments 2, chamfering off, bring down the fraction, double click on this guy, bevel that, segments 2, chamfer off. Now that one, I'm going to increase the fraction just a little bit, but I don't want it to touch those two pieces there. Then I'll go over here, double click on that, but I don't want these guys to be selected. Control E, offset. Now it doesn't like that. We can undo that. Make sure that we don't have anything extra there. Good. And here, I know I'm going to want to have a holding edge on the inside there. And then I know okay, there we go. I don't actually need that holding edge because I'm going to move it to the center. All right. That looks good. Now the other thing that we want on this is we also want it to be in quarters. So we go into face mode and we delete 1 whole quarter of this. Face mode, delete that side. This is called radial symmetry, so I deleted all that. What in the world are you doing? Okay. So here I'm going to flip this over. This needs to go flipped right over here. Let's see. -1. Duplicate -1 on X. Then rotate, hold down J, and then pull that back. Now this way we have 1 whole quarter set up. And then we have these guys. Now those of you that have done environment modeling, remember how this works. Hold down V, snap it to that. Over here, snap it to that. Over here, snap it here. Click over here, snap it to here. Now we're going to combine them together. Merge our verts. Delete our history. All right. Okay, so looking good. This is an n-gon, but we have it set up so that this can become a quad because we have those 2 pieces over there. Go into our object mode. How do things look? There's something weird down there. Huh. What in the world is that? Let's go into vert mode. Let's snap that up. Merge our verts. Okay, looking good. Everything's set to quads. Okay. Now we have a quarter set up. Now let's fill this guy here. And you can't just do a fill hole. I'm going to save that. I think we could start with fill hole. Select one edge, fill hole. Let's do a multi-cut over here, down to here. And let's see what happens if we do this. This may be a very horrible idea, but we'll find out. We're going to boolean those. Segments 2. Not terrible. Chamfer off. Okay. But some wacky stuff. So with this one, let's get some of these n-gons removed. So I'll just grab this here, move it down there. Go over here, grab this one here, move down here, move up here. And now they're all, yeah, they're all quads because this has 1, 2, 3, 4. Just don't like what it's doing over there. That's a little spooky. But luckily it's inside of the object, so we won't really see it. But we could run into some problems with that. Oh, there we go. There's some problems. Snap that guy there. Snap that guy there. I might as well make this pretty and give some holding edges on the inside. You may run into some problems if you don't do that. Oops. Alright, now over here, you can see these guys need to go together. Let's check out how it looks now. I still see some weird pinching going on there. You know what, I bet that's what's going on. It's not pinching because it's actually off. So we'll snap those to the bottom. Is that what I should do? Yeah. I've got a bad feeling about this. Yeah. So I'm going to select the whole bottom here. That's what we want. And then I'm going to scale the bottom so that it's all flat. And then we'll look at it from the right. Whew. There's something really messy going on over there. All right. Only thing. We want this to be planar. So that face is a little bit what's causing some of the issues. I wasn't really planning quite so well on this guy. But you can a lot of times fix up issues with hard surface. It can be somewhat forgiving, believe it or not. I am determined to make this thing work. There we are. All right. Cool. Okay, we have now made it good and smooth. I'm going to delete the history, move it into that center spot. And believe me, this is the easier way than I was doing it before. So, now here's a fun little thing. If we press E, we hold down Shift, J, once, move it once, move it twice, 3 times an object, and then select all these guys like that. Combine, merge our verts, press 3, have a cool looking shape there. And then finally, in this section, we have this guy. You don't have to do a whole hell of a lot for it. We do want to make sure that it doesn't protrude up. This is the part up there. All right, that's good. So what I'll do here is I'll select, I was going to combine that. That's going to make a lot of problems. I'm not going to do that. We're going to go into our edge mode, double click on this bottom edge, shift, bevel edge, segments 2, chamfer. I'm going to leave the chamfer on that, and then just bring down the fraction, holding down control, because we're going to give it a little bit of a mild rounded feel. Now notice that when we go into shaded mode in subdiv, it looks wacky inside. So we want to go into object mode, Alt H, polygon mode, and we need to bevel this top one, even though we don't see it. Show all, and there. All right. Cool. I'm going to move that in. I think it just looks better. Looks a little clumsy if I don't do that. I'm going to look at it from the front view. There we go. Cool. And I just duplicated those prongs. Okay, so we have the whole bottom section looking pretty sweet. And then the next part of it is to, we're not going to connect them. We're going to make the threads. So in order to make the threads, we're going to have to do a little something extra here. Move this out of the way so I can see our washer. All right, so making the threads is the next one. All right, so we're going to make the threads. I'm going to hide this bolt and hide that one. And we're going to put it in here. So to make our threads, we're going to get a helix. So create polygon primitives, helix. And let's see how many faces we have here. Did I do 24? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did. So 24. This one will do 24 on the subdivision coil. And we're going to snap this guy, holding down V, invert snapping it to the top of that cap. Five. And now let's go in here and we're going to change the height. Are we? So I held down I clicked on this guy and then I clicked on the middle mouse. Now why is it doing that? I guess I didn't do that. There we go. Now I snapped it correctly. And width. Click on width. Are you serious? I still not snap it to the right spot? There we go. Jeez. So I moved the width down. Coils. I'm going to increase the number of coils. So the number of coils doesn't totally matter. Yeah, I guess it does. Oh, yes it does. In particular, because if we do something that is a little offset, notice how all these guys are not lining up. So we do want to do, like if we do 12, which 12 is probably a good one. Yeah, 12 is good because that will match up with our with this object here. So 12 on glasses. No wonder I can't see. Click on radius. Okay, closer. Move that. What I did was I clicked on radius until they were barely touching. And then subdivision axes, we're going to change that to 3. So now we're really starting to get some coils going on here. However, we can see that there's too much of a gap over there. I don't like that. So I'm going to click on width and I'm going to move that up a little. So it just barely goes into our object. And I think that the height is, there we go. All right, that's looking better. just making the threads a little smaller because they were just a little too obvious. Changing the width, bringing it in. There. So let's look at our reference. So if you look at our reference, you can see that these guys are not too, they don't stick out a whole lot. They're fairly subtle. Let's click on a radius and try it again. No, I think that's okay. Width. So you can also get a little bit more control if you hold down Control and Shift. All right, so I like these guys. I'm gonna save it and Alt H, and I'm gonna start going in there here and fixing up our coils. So we go into our face, we click on the top, double click on the bottom one, and delete all the.
Daddy,
oh, here's my little dude. Yes, my little dude.
Daddy, you want to go to the beach?
I would love to, but I'm making a tutorial video right now. Are you Knox today?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, so we deleted the inside pieces.
It's all done sleeping.
Oh, good. I'm glad that that car is all done sleeping. So now I'll select these two edges here, and I'll bridge these guys. Shift, right mouse button, bridge. This is the trick for bridging, filling the gap, and bridge those two guys. Then we double click on this, and then we uncheck that guy. So I've double clicked on all, I uncheck that, and then he wants to go to the beach. Poor dude. And now with that, I hold Shift, right mouse button down, and I bridge. So I bridged the first one, and I bridged the last one. I double clicked on the edges, deselected that cap, deselected this cap, and then it bridged the whole thing. So I'll do that again for you. So let's try it again. So we go over here, double click on that edge, it gets everything. Control, deselect that one. Control, deselect this. Shift, right mouse button, bridge. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, in edge mode, we're going to double click on the outside edge. And I like to go to bevel edge, and then I'm going to keep it just at 2, and then I'm just going to move the segments to about there. I'll put on subdivs so I can see what it looks like, and then we'll move it around. How does it look? I like it like that. Cool. All right. Let's click on all. Now we want to connect these guys together. Let's look at the right. Make sure I'm doing this correctly. Hide that. Right, X-ray. All right, okay. Now what we'll want to do
hold the
is we're going to want to cut off the top of those, the top of these threads. So I'm going to put it right about here because I do want to have just a little bit of geometry pushing up.
plop,
And I select this guy, I save it,
plop,
I go to Boolean
plop.
A minus B, and we'll
Stop,
see how that
stop.
works.
Plop,
Okay,
stop,
so this shows you how
stop,
distracting
stop.
wonderful children can be.
Why?
All right, there we go.
Stop.
So don't. Okay, so we have this. Don't do a Boolean operation while you're in subdiv mode because it's going to tessellate it really high. So we select the threads, we shift select the cutting object, we do a Boolean
What you doing?
difference A minus B, and then we have our threads right over there.
What you doing, plop?
All right, so that's what it looks like. And then I'm going to, and that looks good. Now let's select the top faces. Let's select the top faces to this guy.
Top.
And let's extrude it up.
Ow.
I don't think I like that. Yeah, especially since I didn't even move those guys. Ooh.
I want to go to the beach now.
I bet you do. So then we're going to, let's do this Boolean object again. Difference A minus B. All right. So this is the stem to our object. And what we're going to do, we need to think a little ahead. I'm going to select this top part here. Deselect this part over here. Control E. That's a mouthpiece, by the way.
What is this?
That is eyeglass cleaner. And I'm going to shift this guy up. Okay, I'm going to pause this. All right, we're back. It's the next day. Kid is distracted. Dogs are not in the room. So there should be no more jump scares. So this is what we were left with. We're finishing up the threads. I'm going to hide this bolt. I'm going to hide this washer. And we have these guys going. So what we could do is we can, oh, we have extra bolts here. That's unusual. Or threads. Where did that come from? Okay, we can see how these guys line up. Let's look at our references. You don't have to think quite as much about these bolts as I am at the moment. I probably shouldn't quite be thinking so much about them, but you notice there's different ways that the threads end up at the bottom. They kind of go into a how could one put it, a thicker area. So the thicker area at the bottom goes up to the outside of the threads, and then it goes inside over there. Some of them don't do that. So whichever one you choose to do is totally fine. This one, see, it goes inside, so it ends up looking a little bit like, if I click on this guy, it would look like that, which is okay. Let's do it that way. This is the easiest way to do it. The others might be just a little on the finicky side. I'm gonna bring this microphone over here so you can hear me a little bit better. Okay, so what we'll do here, we have our cutting object. I want to connect our threads over to this thing. So what I'll do is I'm going to add a edge loop over there. I'm going to add an indefinite article edge loop over there. And what I'll do is I'm going to select the middle faces and delete them. So this way, and then I'll select the threads and this bottom piece here, and I'm going to connect this bottom piece into the threads. So for this, just going to go right into vert mode, and I'm going to just manually move these guys connected. I want to have wireframe unshaded. My mouse also died after that last video. The middle mouse button just stopped working. I thought it was a problem with the computer. Once, as a joke, practical joke, I put a piece of tape underneath somebody's mouse, and it was back in the day before optical mouses, so they had the little balls underneath them. So the guy, who was a good friend of mine and still is, was trying to move his mouse around, and it wouldn't. It just moved very slightly. So he was like, well, the mouse is working, it's just not going very fast. And he was like shaking it and getting all pissed off. And then I had written dumb on the piece of tape that was holding it up. And that was like our little joke. We called each other dumb, because it was funniest amount. Okay, why is it doing that? Maya, why are you so strange sometimes? No, it's still doing that. That's very strange. Okay. Donk, donk. Because I don't want to add all those extra pieces. So I'm adding a cut here. And then I'm just going to straighten it out. But I think that this will be a good holding edge to have. There. So it's a little off, so I'm going to select all the verts here. Vert mode. Select this. Deselect this guy. These guys here. And then I want to snap it to this one here. So I'll deselect that one. And V, and then I'm going to grab onto this top axis and aim it right there. There. Then I'll go back into multi-cut, 50% there, cut there. grab this, snap it up there, do another little cut over here, grab that, snap it up there, and all right. Okay, we cut that. That's set. Now this one is a little weird. I think I want it to have a little bit of a slope going up. So I'm going to grab this and move it up a little bit. But then I'm also going to select these faces and delete them. There's some weirdness going on the top there that I need to fix up. These are part of the unpredictable nature of modeling, and you just have to roll with it. You can't control everything. So if you know how to bend, then things will become a lot less frustrating. You don't make it listen to your will, you work with it. I know that sounds like a lot of woo, and I'm sorry, but strangely enough, it really is very handy, because programs can cause you a lot of strife if they don't work the way you want them to work. Oop. Hope that's okay. There was a guy named George Bernard Shaw. Had some great writing. And he said, "The rational man adapts to the world, and the irrational man expects the world to adapt to him. Therefore, all progress is made by a rational man." A lot of people think that's really neat and a great rousing endorsement of irrationality. However, when you think about evolution and adaptation, it's the ones that survive that are the ones that adapt. So therefore, the irrational man is going to be the one that does not adapt to survive. So it is the rational men that do the adapting. And in order to adapt, you have to learn. And learning is a product of an intelligent mind. Therefore, the irrational man is not as intelligent as the rational man. So we owe a debt of gratitude to those irrational people that have made changes in the world and have not survived to see said changes. I don't think that Shaw intended that. But it's interesting. Okay, so we have that. And all these guys match up. So what I'm going to do is, and this is where I want the lines to go to. So I'm just going to go in here. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to merge all of our verts. Delete our history. And then I'm going to go in here and just cut around in a very irrational manner. No, actually, it's rational. I know what I'm doing. Besides, there's no such thing as a purely rational or irrational person, unless the person is really out of their mind. All right, so, and if no one's ever seen this before, but by the time you're in advanced modeling, you should have seen it. This green stuff, somehow, really strange thing about Maya. Every single time I open up a hypershade, the window gets bigger. So I don't know why it does that sometimes. So sometimes it will just disconnect that shader node. Just reapply a shader to it. In this case, I'm just I made a blend, and we should have blends because blends help you to see where you might have some shading problems. So now I'm just taking all of these irrational cuts that I made, and I'm putting them up into the top piece, which is where I want them to go. You'll notice that some of them are missing, and for that I'm going to actually do some more cuts so that we have an even number of faces on the top. And it almost. Okay, and then we're gonna see. There we go. There's the plan. I want to make sure I follow this plan. Okay, and then all these guys are cut except for this part here. So this part I'm gonna cut in the middle. I'm going to cut down here. This is another one that's not cut. When you get really good at Maya, you're able to kind of see through all of this. Kind of a little bit like in the Matrix, where you see all those falling digits, and then they still see three-dimensional objects. But that's a little silly. Okay. So there is the top part for it. So let's combine all these guys, make sure everything looks good in here, and we go here, mesh, combine, save it, merge our verts. Now one thing we need, delete our history, is we're going to need to do some holding edges, because watch what happens. Some wacky stuff going on there. This one, these guys here, I want to bring that in. Add another holding edge here. There. So I added that small little holding edge, and you notice how when I did that, before I did that, this was kind of pulling up or pulling down a little bit, and when I added that holding edge, it actually made it less drastic. I'll bring this guy in here. Let's remove the wireframe unshaded, and everything needs to be set to that blend there, and that's pretty good. The only thing we have to do is we have to fix this up section up here. Oh, that's strange. Oh, it's a try, that's why. What? Oh, look at this. Did I forget to snap them? I guess I did. How irrational. Well, at least we're making progress. Who riffs on George Bernard Shaw? Okay. Merge. Now let's go in here. Oh, actually no. let's do some holding edges on this spot, but we're going to do bevel, 2, chamfer, off, bring it down, good. We're going to do the same thing for here, chamfer off, segments 2, bring it down. Turn off our shading, wireframe unshaded rather. But we have to go into object mode. There we go. All right. I think that looks pretty cool. There's a little something weird with that. And something weird with that. Let's fix those. Just grab this one, snap it up. Grab this one, snap it up. Merge 3. I wonder how we could fix that. So we could probably find a quad. One thing we could try is we could try to do a cut here in the middle. No, that won't do it because now we're adding another try there. No. So I think it's an acceptable issue. All right, so we have that. Let's bring it all back. That's our cutting object. That's our camera. Just freaking turn off the camera so we don't see them anymore. This is our old threads. Nice to keep threads there just as backup. There's our button. That goes in there. This is our old thing over there. I'm going to hide that. And we are almost done. So we did the threads, and now we made the washer. Did I already make the washer? No, I didn't make the washer. So there's a couple things. Okay, washer is next. So there's two kinds of washers that we can make. One complicated, somewhat complicated, one really easy. This is the easier one, super easy. Is that? Oh, it does have a bit of a gap. One has like a little gap, but then it's kind of twisted. And this is kind of fun. You can see in, here it is. You can see in this one that it has this little twist on it. So fun little thing. Let's see. Let's make the easy one first. So the easy one first is just a straight old washer. So bring everything back. Is that a good size? Yes. And then we're going to create another cylinder. No, we don't need to do that because we can go onto the top and we can select the faces on the top and the bottom, and we should be able to Control E, hold down Control, get offset. Let's bring everything back. Hide this so we can see it. Go into edge mode, select that edge and this edge, and I'm doing this because I want to be able to see where the washer is. That's a good washer, but I never see washers with that kind of slimness outside of it. They usually seem a little bit bigger, so I'll make it a little bit bigger like that. Okay. Then we hide everything else. We go in here, we select in here. Actually, we can just go like this. And then we should conceivably select both of these guys and bridge. Yeah, that worked. So I selected the top and the bottom, and then I bridged it, and that made the inside. And once we have that, everything's still quads. We're just going to go in, select the top edge, bottom edge, all of these edges, and add some holding edges to them all at once. Chamfer off, segments 2, fraction, whoops. Fraction, we want that down pretty far. And check it out in subdiv mode. Pretty. Save. Show everything. Show all. And there's the easy one. Oops. So the harder one, if you want to, if you choose to accept this, is not to cut this, because then you're going to have to go around here, modify it, blah, 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 blah. So the harder one would be something like this. I'm going to hide it. Then we will create a cube. Let's bring this up. We make it thin. Nope, we're not going to do that yet because we need to change the, I think, subdivision depth. Yeah. We want to change that to let's change it to 16. Yeah. We make it thin. We make it thin. We bring it back. Are you seeing what I'm doing here? Now, I don't know. I suppose I could be insanely clever and measure from here to the outside or to the middle over there to get the radius, and then go pi r squared, and then I will get the length. But I'm not that clever. So I'm just going to do this. And we have this guy set up. Now I'm going to use a bend modifier. So I go over to, do I want to use a bend modifier just yet? Let's try beveling it first. So I'm going to select all those guys. See if this works. What would happen if we did all of these guys? Would this be an easy way to do it? Bevel edge, chamfer off. I think it just might. Whoa, look at how easy that was. Nice cube. I didn't realize we could do it that easily. I'm going to take that, copy it, and hide it. Then we go into deform, we go to nonlinear, and we go to bend. So we get this little guy. Now this guy is in the wrong orientation. We need it lengthwise. So I hold down J and I rotated it so it's inside of it. Then I go on to curvature and I bend that guy around. Cool, huh? Now, the one thing that we need, though, is that we need this guy to go up on one side. So be a little bit twisted. And let me see if I can find that image that I was shown before. Yeah, so see how it's just slightly twisted? Going right into the middle. So we should be able to go in here and rotate it just like that. Cool, huh? Twisting it ever so little. Just like that. Now, the only thing is, we need to make sure that this, is that correct? We need to get down to the whole base of everything. That's the bend handle, but we want the object. If I move the object, it's going to change the whole size of it. So we don't want to do that. If I click on the bend handle, will it move it? Nope, it just does it a little bit strangely. So what I think I'll do is, we have the bend modifier in here. Everything looks the way that we want it to look. So I'm just going to go and delete the history, but I'm going to click on our object and then click on delete history, and we remove the bend object and we can move it over here. So with that done, I'll look at the top, and I'm going to scale this in a little. Now the other thing you can see is that there's a little, this is a little annoying, how it's kind of doesn't curve exactly right. We can try to move these guys, but don't move too much when you're in subdiv mode, because you can get some really bad geometry changes. So we're okay with that, and I like that dude. So I'm going to move that out of the way and show all. Bring this down right there. Okay. That's our washer. So on to the next one. Make the nut. So making the nut is a little bit different. What we need is we need our threads and we need the nut. And then we cut the threads into the nut. So to do this, we need to duplicate this thing, save it first, duplicate these guys, and we're going to work on an alternate one because we don't want to mess up our lovely threads. So we select the nut, we select the threads, we do a Boolean difference, and then ABC, voila, just like that. So you're never going to see those, however, unless it's off. And you can't just go like this because that wouldn't really look good. But it's nice to have it there in case you want to animate it or something of that sort. All right, so we have that. However, we want to fix it up so that we don't have some really weird geometry with the Boolean. And we also want to do a little something that's rather clever, but remember I said I wasn't clever. And this is going to be interesting. So now this thing that I'm talking about is, if you look at this nut, see how it comes down on the edges like that? So we could just be happy with this nut the way that it is. And we could put some nice holding edges on it. You can do that if you want, but I'm going to go one step further. And first I'm going to go in here and fix up anything that that might have gotten weird with the Boolean. So I see there's two verts over there. I'm going to mix those guys together, and I see a vert there. I'm going to snap that guy there. I'm going to snap this guy here because it's really quite small. There's some wackiness there. Snap those guys together. And this is where it starts to like kind of curve in. I'm going to grab this one, snap that up because it's just a little small to make a difference. I know people say the least among us is the greatest, but I don't know if that's really based in reality. Extra vert there. And then let's do the same underneath it. verts. We had a couple of verts right in that little spot there. That would have been fixed if we just merged the verts. But since I'm looking at it right there, we'll fix that. Gotta keep your eyes peeled for this kind of stuff. Dunk. Dunk. That's a little small. Bottom to the top, so we don't get any warping. How are we doing? Anything there? Any other extroverts? We only want introverts here. Good. Object mode. Merge our verts. 0.0005. I've been doing that a lot lately, especially for hard surface modeling. Okay, so now we have that guy set. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a cylinder. And I tested this out before, and it works nicely. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to move it to a new spot. I'm going to move it to 0, 0, 0. Cool. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to move that to 0, 0, 0. Then I'm going to move this guy up. And you may be seeing what I'm going to do here. I'm going to select that middle vert. I'm going to move it up. So I moved it up. And now when I go into object mode, select this guy. Object mode and select this. Is that really in the center? Something seems a little off. Maybe it needs to go a little higher. Yeah, let's try that. And move it down. There we go. All right, so here you go. You can see now we have each of these corners goes over there. Oop, no, it's not doing it totally perfectly. I have the wrong number of faces on here. I think I may. 624. Ah, it needs a 24-sided one. That's why. Sorry. But trial and error. Move this guy up. Ugh. Almost did it again. 24. There we go. Now all these guys are matching. We can see each one of these has 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so then I go into vert mode, select this middle guy, move it up like so, go into object mode, bring this guy down. Now, see that nice little curve we have there? Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. All right, so now we have that. I'm going to save it before we do anything crazy. Actually, I'm gonna add a new one just in case something happens. Then I select our nut. I select our cutting object, I go to Boolean, I go difference, and look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that top. So neat. Okay, so we need to do that also on the bottom. But I think what we're going to do is I had an idea. Oh, I know what it is. Multi-cut. Dunk, dunk, dunk. I'm just randomly cutting again. A really great art lead that I had said, Morgan, you don't do things in the usual way, which I think was a really good compliment. And then we're going to duplicate all this neat stuff that we've done up there down to the bottom. So we're also going to duplicate each one of these. No, we don't need to actually do that. Oh, I think we might. Well, okay, we'll find out. So we have these guys. Now I want to make sure that we don't have any n-gons here. So I'm going to do multi-cut, and I'm going to go along here, and I'm just going to add edge loops along each one of these to connect these guys up so we have no n-gons. Remember, I probably didn't say it in this video, but in class I've said that hard surface, I think, would be really very abstract to a person new to Maya. And if a person that was new to Maya knew what they might be doing later on, they might say, I want nothing to do with this. But once you get really good at it, this is really wonderfully therapeutic. Okay, we have our top pieces. That looks good. Now let's start adding some holding edges. So we'll go over here. Let's delete our history, merge our verts. These are quads. There we go. I thought we should have that. So we have that. We go over here to bevel our edges, chamfer, bring that down. Cool. All right. Now let's get these guys. Oops. Edge. This is going to be such a pretty nut when we're done with it. All right, we have that. Actually, I think this should be fine. Let's see how it goes when we're done. We select all these guys and bevel these guys. Segments 2, chamfer off. I think that it actually should do it. Yeah, it did it fine. Cool. We have all quads. Everything's looking beautiful. Okay. Now, we just need to grab these guys. Oops, I don't want that. I don't want any of the threads to be selected. In fact, I don't even want the center pieces to be selected. So let's look around here, make sure that we're not selecting anything we don't want to select. Hold down tab and draw on these guys to get rid of it. Oh dear. Sloppy. Draw on these top guys because we don't want these guys. And if you didn't see this coming, hopefully you are delightfully surprised. So we have these guys. Now we're going to go into our spacebar menu. We're going to go to Edit Mesh. Oh yeah, it's doing that thing. Edit Mesh and Duplicate. W. Go back in here, click on that. Object Mode. Move it down, and there we go. Duplicate is weird. You have to get out of it, W, and then you have to click off and click back on. A little strange. Delete our history. Then we're going to flip Y. Then we're going to move our center point to one of these sides. Let's make sure we got on the correct one. Right there. And then we're going to snap it right up here. Oops. Darn it. All right. Now, with this, we need to add some other cuts. There. 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 Like Marnie said with her horse. There. Oh, that was kind of a depressing movie. But I like Hitchcock. Amazing director. Amusingly, and I didn't even realize this, but Hitchcock's birds had no music. No music at all. The only music it had was the intro. Oops. And... no, wait. No, it didn't. It had no music. I was thinking of... yeah, no. The birds had no music. Psycho had just strings. So no, it didn't have like a whole orchestra behind it. That's Hitchcock, though, for you. Always trying something new. Oop, one more. So if you came up with a different way of doing this, awesome. Hopefully it was easier than this. But I doubt it. Then we just grab all these guys now, since they're all the same number of facets. And we are going to have one gorgeous looking nut. No giggles, please. Ah. Yeah. All right. Select both these guys. Combine. Merge our verts. 0.0005. Delete history. Remember to make sure you do that 0005, otherwise you're going to lose some geometry. And there we go. Look at that gorgeous thing. Couple little weird things in there, but I mean, threads are a little bit strange in these guys. We could do some holding edges on this. That could help. But you know, it's kind of good enough. I think it would look good if it's a little bit... whoa, we're upside down. In space, there is no right side up, like Ender said. But we're in Maya, so there is. I'll move it down. So we'll move this guy down here, closer to our bolt, or our switch. I'll move this guy down here. And then now we have our last thing, and that is the top push button. So step 9. Awesome that you have stayed with me so far. Step 9 is this is going to be so easy. It's just going to be insane. So I don't even have to look back there to see what's going on. And I'm going to Control E, and I selected all the bottom faces, by the way. And there, I got that. Control E again, and translate Z, move it up. Then I'm going to go into object mode, hide everything else. I'm going to select this edge, this edge, this edge, and I'm going to give them all the same kind of bevel. Chamfer off, segments 2, fraction down low. Then on the top, I'm going to give it a different bevel, because let's look at what our object looked like. So if we look at our object here, no, that's the hypershade. Go over here. And you can see that the bottom is a little bit more of a hard edge, and the top is a little bit softer. So we're going to do that. So we go into edge mode, double click on this, shift right mouse button. Let's leave the chamfer on, and let's put the segments to 4. And then we'll do, let's try 3. Yeah, 3 should work. So 3, we'll leave it like that. We'll go into subdiv mode, object, looks beautiful. Select all. Let's hide these guys. And let's hide our grid. And there it is. Let's put on wireframe unshaded. And there is our hard surface push button momentary switch. Let's hide our image plane. Let's hide that thing. Look at how pretty that is. Let's select the whole thing, save it. Find our hypershade and select, make everything a blend. Looks good. Oh, one thing. These 2 pieces. What should we do with these guys? We have these pieces here. Now, ultimately, what we could do is we can make this top piece together if we wanted. And I think we will. That'll be our last little final touch. So I'll go into face mode and I'll select those bottom faces. I'll go into face mode here. Select all these guys. Go back into shaded. Make sure wireframe unshaded is on. Do an extrude and bring that in so it's close. 4. Delete that inside, and then I'm just going to go in, make sure that on this guy, if we look at it from the side, is at the same spot over here. And then I'm just going to go around, grab these, snap them in. I want to have a lot of it to be like a single object, but this raises an interesting question, is to make a single object or not to make a single object. Sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't. If there's something movable, you're not going to want to make it a part of that same object. If it's like a, mechanical solid piece of something, like a jawbone or some other kind of thing. It's too hard to, when you're rigging something like that, to just select the jawbone. I could be wrong, but that's what I would think. And also, you don't always have to merge everything together. Back in the day, we didn't want to have any polygons that were even being culled because it would take away from the processor power. But computers are so much faster that that's not quite so much of a problem. Combine all that together, merge our verts, delete our history, go in here, let's select the edge we made, bevel it, chamfer off, segments 2. Do we need that? I don't think so. Why do we only need 1? That's weird. Okay, whatever. There. Okay, now that's a solid object, and we just removed 1 object there. So there it is. And there is our push button switch. It's pretty. Turn this off. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do with this is we're going to UV the whole thing. So, and then the video after that, we're going to bring it into Substance Painter, and we're going to texture it, and then we're going to actually probably in the next one after that we'll render it in iRay or in Arnold in Maya. So the thing about UVing is that you could just give it all to Substance Painter and say, you do it yourself. However, it's really good to know how UVing works, and you really should do it in Maya because you should really get really easy, good and quick at it because it's not all that tough. All you have to do is just think in a certain way and practice with it, and it gets pretty darn easy. And normal map, not normal maps, but normal based UV mapping and unfolding is going to be your big friend. So thank you for watching all this, and I hope it wasn't too confusing. All right, have a good one.